Hey, movie fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Uncharted Media Podcast. This is episode 195. We're now officially in spoopy season. It's that time of year again, finally. And actually, Josh has actually recognized spoopy season as opposed to the crap he gives me for the other 11 months of the year. But it's our favorite time of year around the podcast, besides, the beginning of the year when we get to make crazy predictions, because we just talk about the spoopy stuff all month long. So we're going to start off gentle. We're going to start off with our warped and twisted minds added once again, just like last week, the fantasy football. We're going to turn regular movies into horror movies. And I'm looking forward to the chaos that ensues with that. It's not necessarily like family-friendly movies. It's just like non-horror movies turning into horror movies. Most of them are for comedic effect. One of them I'm just like, it could have served your story better to be a horror movie, but we'll get into all that in a little bit. Josh, how you doing tonight?
Chilling like a villain. Apparently, I can't talk. Well, we could talk before, but I can't talk now. I'm doing all right, man. I'm actually got 2 days off this week, so I am vibing, my dude.
What a novel concept.
I know, right? It's crazy. What about you? You doing all right?
Uh, I mean, we made it out of the hurricane fine enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It's so weird. It was so sporadic. Of some places by us were super, super flooded. Others, it was like nothing happened. We got a lot of heavy winds and heavy rain, but by and large, we're doing okay. I'm still pissed that it was during my pre-scheduled vacation time. But I did get those days back, so I'll just use some other random days here and there. I'm like, my timing. But Josh, you watching anything good lately?
I did. I've made good use of my days off. Of course, Rings of Power episode 6, fantastic. Golly, so it's very interesting because with the really, and maybe this is probably on purpose, honestly, if we're being serious here. Cinema Wins has been doing his everything great
Batman?
about the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Oh, yeah. Okay, the freaking heathen that says the theatrical version is better. Excuse me.
Have you watched all 3 of the videos?
Yes, of course I have.
So he comes back and he says, obviously he definitely sees the benefits in the extended, but definitely not for a first watch. And you know what? I can see the merit in that. I can absolutely see the merit in that. But with all that being said, having him comment about the way that Peter Jackson films certain things and the way those movies eye certain things up to about episode 4 of Rings of Power, it is very, very similar in the way that things are shot, in the way the camera kind of angles, all those kinds of things are very Peter Jackson-esque. Episode 6, they lean hard into anything that's not Peter Jackson, and it's absolutely wonderful. It felt fresh. I don't know. Obviously I stay away from all the comments and stuff like that for Rings of Power because I love this show and I don't want anybody to dampen my spirits about it. That being said, I also tried to get in the swing of things with the fall season. I watched for the first time Over the Garden Wall. I had never seen the show before,
Why
and
does that sound familiar?
I know that you'd know it if you saw it.
The name
It's one of
sounds
those.
so familiar.
It's a show Cartoon Network did one season of. It's about these 2 kids that get lost in the woods. It's so charming, and everything about it is just the transition. It's about transition, from fall to autumn to autumn. No, sorry, from summer to autumn from autumn to winter. It's a very good show, and honestly, I know for a fact you and Heather would love that show. It is on HBO Max, and I could not recommend it more as a hey, it's fall time to watch this kind of thing. It's I want to say maybe 8 episodes long, and they're typical maybe 30 minutes each. And God, it's just
okay,
so much
that's
fun.
an easy. That's easy enough.
Easy. Likewise, kicking it off with the spoopy season. My youngest brother had not seen As Above, So Below, And I was like, you know what? I haven't seen this in a while. Let's watch it again. And he joined me with that. And gosh, man, it is so awesome to see what you can do with the found footage genre when you do it right, when you do like the amount of tension that's been built. And like watching it, I think this is like the third or fourth time I've seen this film over the years. But like the way that like literally the first hour of this hour and a half movie is nothing but atmosphere. There's no jump scares. There's nothing. It's just building the atmosphere, and to the point where it comes to a head at the third hour mark, and the next 30 minutes is just terrifying because of all the implications and all the release of the atmosphere. It's very good. I will always sing the praises as above so below, because I know that you and I, going in to see it, we're kind of like, it's a found footage film. How good can it be?
It's one that Netflix heavily advertises. How good can it be?
Yes, exactly. It's very, very good, honestly.
So I haven't watched anything spoopy yet. Like an hour before we started recording this, I picked up my 4K trilogy, quote unquote trilogy from Scream Factory of Halloween. It is Halloween 6, both the theatrical and producer's cut, Halloween H2O, and Josh's favorite, Halloween Resurrection, all in
Yeah,
4K.
mate.
So I'm very much looking forward to delving into those and seeing how they look. I'm sure they translate pretty well. But I didn't text Josh about this because I'm curious. I want to see his actual reactions. We have a Teen Titans Go to the Movies situation on our hands here, as Heather and I watch DC League of Super Pets.
Oh no.
It's not as funny as Teen Titans Go to the Movies, but dude, there's a couple good, like, actually laugh out loud moments, and also effective uses of the censor beep in a
Interesting.
Yeah, they play that very cleverly. Also, as much as I bag on Kevin Hart being the same thing in every movie, and I was kind of not necessarily the biggest fan of what they did with Ace in this movie, and we could see from the trailers that he's different. There's a couple scenes that get actual genuine emotion out of you going, oh jeez, I was not expecting this from League of Super Pets. But yeah, it's a lot funnier than you're expecting it to be. It's not to the level of Teen Titans Go to the Movies. That was like blew me away, laughing on the floor, crying. But there's a couple really, really good jokes, and it's also clearly written by fans of the material, because there's some deep cut jokes in this and references and Easter eggs. I'm just like, so this is what a healthy DC universe looks like. Some of the character designs work for me. Some of them really don't. And The Rock is just playing The Rock. There's no real disguising his voice, but I think you'd be very surprised with League of Super Pets, Josh.
That probably wouldn't be. Yeah, like it always had that kind of potential. The Teen Titans Go to the Movies kind of potential. I just refuse because it's The Rock being The Rock. I can deal with Kevin.
It's a good
Kevin's
streaming
fine.
movie.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised about that. Now that it is on streaming, I think I'll check it out potentially. But I'm glad it wasn't an absolute dumpster fire like we thought it was going to be.
Not completely. Now, let's get into some news, because Jesus, we're loaded this week.
Yeah.
So, kicking us off is the news that most of y'all are super surprised about. And then there's me, who has been saying ever since Logan ended, Hugh Jackman will come back as Wolverine one day in the MCU. And friends, I am proud to report Hugh Jackman is coming to the MCU in some capacity in Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy's Deadpool 3. The King is returning to us. We're getting another appearance from Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and I lost my mind when I saw this news. Now, granted, I understand that some people are just like, but it ruins the legacy of Logan. It ruins his final appearance. I'm like, it's okay if you think that. You're just not right. Because
okay, hold on.
Because
that is totally of my opinion.
Because look at where we're at currently within the MCU. We are exploring the multiverse. I think Logan was the send off to the Fox Wolverine. I think this is a Krasinski Mr. Fantastic situation of, yeah, he looks like the person that you know, but he's slightly different. Also, and I think I texted this to you, Josh, or I was either talking to you or Heather about this. There's a difference between Dwayne Johnson's fan service and Ryan Reynolds' fan service.
That's fair.
This is
That's
Ryan
very
Reynolds'
fair.
fan service in that I feel like for years he's wanted to do a Deadpool Wolverine crossover movie. But I feel like he's doing this specifically for one reason and one reason alone, to get fans to be able to see at least once Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in the frickin' Wolverine suit. If you show that in the trailer, in the words of John Campea, they're not going to sell some of the tickets. They're going to sell all of the tickets. Not a lot, all of the tickets. Which makes you think they're not going to show it in the trailer as a big, like, pop the crowd moment. But the biggest lie of this whole thing, this whole announcement of Hugh Jackman's returning as Wolverine, for one last time, I'm going, yeah, sure, Jan. Here's why. There's some movie that's coming out a few years after Deadpool 3 called Avengers Secret Wars, which we're not going to talk about that today, but we do now have a writer for it, and it's the same guy that did Loki and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, so kind of checks out there. Doesn't get me overly excited, but checks out at least.
Yeah.
Fans have been clamoring forever for, like, multiverse characters to show up in Secret Wars and be this big, huge event. I think the chances are better now than they were a few weeks ago of that actually becoming reality. But again, fans, temper your expectations for what Secret Wars actually will be. But Josh, one of the greatest castings of all time, Hugh Jackman, is back. The best will always be J. Jonah Jameson. But the Jackman is back, and you hate it, don't you?
I am definitely one of those people who is like that. Yes, like Logan was the perfect send off to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I don't want to see him in anything. However, if he's gonna come back for some reason, mainly because of like the love, like weird relationship that Deadpool has with Hugh Jackman in both in 1 and 2, this just works on so many levels, and I just, if they're gonna bring him back, this is how I'm down with. I'm totally okay with that. Even if there's no multiverse shenanigans and he's just back, I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. I would love to see Hugh in the actual, like in an actual Wolverine costume, be it the orange and brown or the black and yellow. I would love to see just a actual suit on him. And I think if anybody's got the balls to do it, it's Deadpool. It's definitely Deadpool.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do use Wolverine suit, which, come on, they better. Or if they save that for Secret Wars, don't you dare. If they do use the suit, I think it'll be the suit from that deleted scene from The Wolverine when he opens up the box or whatever, like the ultimate tease.
Yeah, so the brown and
yellow.
Orange.
Okay, so what is it that you like that brown and yellow, but you don't like brown and yellow on Daredevil?
No, because that's brown and orange. That's not brown and yellow.
No, it's brown and yellow. Me? It's definitely brown and yellow.
Nah. I think because Daredevil screams red to me. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. The yellow, I think for maybe it's the shade, because the shade for Wolverine's brown and yellow is not. It's definitely leaning towards more like an orange, whereas Daredevil's yellow is clearly mustard.
Another reason why I don't think this is like the legacy destroyer of Logan that some people think it is it's a Deadpool movie. It's going to be so tonally different than Logan. Deadpool has always more or less been a satire of superhero movies, so I would not be surprised at all if they make some joke about, wow, we actually could afford Jackman this time around? Like, All it took
Yeah.
us 2 movies or
Yeah.
whatever else. It only took a colossal merger that almost like destroyed the movie infrastructure. Like I could see Deadpool making that kind of joke of,
Yeah,
oh wow,
absolutely.
all it took was our studio going completely bottoms up and being bought out by the mouse for us to actually have somebody famous in one of these.
I and I could totally see him calling him Hugh the entire time. Like, not he's
Didn't
not
we?
Wolverine, calling him Hugh
I feel
Jackman
like
the
we
entire
pitched
time.
that idea at one point or another of bring back Hugh Jackman for Deadpool 3, but not as Wolverine, as the actual
Yeah.
actor Hugh Jackman. But looking beyond Deadpool, there's no way that you get him back for this and only this with Secret Wars on the horizon. Like,
Here's the thing. I'm gonna say that's totally the possibility because we got burned with Civil War. And Civil War was what it is. It needed, if you're gonna do a Civil War, it needs to be way bigger than just a one single airport fight.
one day
Despite all my,
one day Josh will get off his high horse about Civil War.
I just, here's the thing, man. I think if you're gonna do one of these movies that is a big colossal like event,
Colossus.
yeah, to do an actual like event, like it needs to be one, part 1 and 2 or something like that. I just, for Civil War was disappointing to me, and I think it'll always be that way to me. But still, regardless of that, I just I I know the chances of them going as hard as they need to with Secret Wars are higher than ever. They're still, to me, not that high for me to have expectations to be seeing a whole bunch of people showing up.
I forgot to mention this in what we're watching, but I'm actually starting to read the original Secret Wars comic, the original, like the 80s one.
No, nice.
And I could absolutely see a world where certain members, like the newer people, like the ones that they're kind of expecting to lead the forefront, like a Kate Bishop, like a Shang-Chi, the new Captain America, Spider-Man, all of them just get teleported away one day. And then you get select members of the Fox universe, and they just kind of meet as a grouping, like hey, what are you? Hey, who are you? And that's kind of their version of Secret Wars. And then we get some incursions from there. So yeah, more or less what happens in the comics, but like, you don't need everybody. We don't need Jessica Alba's Mrs. Fantastic to come back. No, thank you.
Why not? Why not?
Because
That could be fun.
they nailed 3 out of the 4 castings in those Fantastic Four movies, and they also cast her in those movies.
That's mean. But
I don't care. It's
you.
accurate because everyone else is great, and Doctor Doom is also in those movies.
He's a thing that happened.
He's
Yeah,
a thing that
absolutely.
happens in those movies. But as we've heard speculated, the reason why we haven't gotten any mutants or X-Men so far in the MCU is because like those pre-existing contracts with the Fox movies have like supposedly locked those actors behind a wall till 2025, or like they can't be recast till 2025. I'm like, well, if you do Secret Wars, you don't need to recast them. You can just bring them back as a multiverse variant of them. That way you have some form of a big crossover. But then when you're done with Secret Wars, and I'm assuming they're just going to start this new timeline post Secret Wars of everything is canon and everything's together, of X-Men, Avengers, whatever else, then you can recast then, and they'll be like, here's our current universe situation now. I still maintain that this is a great thing. I love that people are just like, what did Disney have to do to get you to come back? He's just like, no one made me do anything. I'm an adult. I make decisions. I wanted to come back. I don't know if this is a Hugh Jackman situation of Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan pleaded, please, Hugh.
They just backed up a truck. But also, you got to look at who he's working with. Both Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have worked with Sean Levy before. Words are hard. Ryan Reynolds just worked with him in Free Guy, and Hugh Jackman worked with him in the criminally underrated Real Steel, which, again, no one talks about. Also, Hugh Jackman was in Free Guy as well. Quick cameo there. So maybe Hugh was just looking for the right guy to work with next. Maybe he just wanted to work with Ryan. There could be a lot of factors, but I have a hard time believing this is a one and done for him. Granted, I think this will also give him a chance to show off more of his comedic side because it's a freaking Deadpool movie.
And I think that's what I'm more excited about. And I can see this being one of the reasons why Hugh comes back, because this is an opportunity. Geez, words are
Words
hard for
are
both of
hard.
us today. It's an opportunity for both of them to kind of take Wolverine in a direction we haven't seen before. So Hugh actually gets to come back and do something fresh. It was why he was so excited about Logan. To do something fresh with the character, something different than he's done before. And honestly, I can totally see them leaning into more of that like original X-Men movies cheese with this, and I'm just excited about it,
And also, if he
honestly.
gets the Wolverine costume, he doesn't have to be in as good of shape the whole time.
Correct, just pad that thing.
Uh-huh. Now, a late developing thing, I think this trailer dropped on Monday, but oh, what a trailer it is. We get our first like full non-teaser, but like a full trailer for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which it's a great trailer, make no mistake. But I feel like they may have given a little too much away in this trailer, which is kind of Marvel's MO lately. Ever since, you know, Bob Paycheck took over, their marketing has not
Hmm.
cared about spoilers whatsoever because it's just kind of obvious now. So Shuri is clearly the new Black Panther in this
Oh,
movie.
clearly.
Like, you didn't even try to hide that at all. Besides that, I thought this trailer was great. Not as good as that first trailer, but that's just because that first trailer set a bar that it would be almost impossible to surpass because that first teaser trailer was so good. I continue to be blown away by the visuals of this movie. Uh, I think it's going to be a really hard movie to sit through from an emotion standpoint of just, it's going to be a very heavy movie. It's also, from everything we're hearing, it's a very long movie, like 2 hours and 45 minutes, which I'm going, hey, man, if it serves the story, go for it. The Batman's 3 hours, and for the most part, I think the runtime is justified on that. I'm super excited about this. I have my thoughts about Namor though, because the actor has come out and be like, "Oh, it's so great that I get to be this anti-hero in this movie." I'm going, well, from the trailers, you kind of just look like a straight up bad guy, like no anti-hero to you, which makes me go, who's the real villain behind this? And does his
Hmm.
last name consist of only 4 letters type of situation? Um, but Josh, the new Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer dropped.
Hmm.
Thoughts?
Dude, it's so cool. Like, yeah, that first one, it's gonna be hard to beat, but this one definitely has that same energy. I need to look up the what version of the song they're doing because it sounds like just a version of like the song from the first trailer, but in like Swahili or something like that, which is super cool, and I really like that. But yeah, so such a cool trailer. Love Namor's design. Um,
Winged
genuinely,
feet!
that
Winged
is and
feet!
that is one of those things that I was like, there's no way they're gonna pull this off in a way that doesn't look goofy. And it still looks a little goofy, but it's still also like you're not gonna say anything to him about it. And they're
No!
like, he looks like he could kill you. So wow, yeah, it's just fantastic. And as much as like I wish they would have saved it for the movie, yeah, of course, sure he's going to be the the new next Black Panther. The suit looks super cool. I think what's interesting is some of the theories that I've seen are that Shuri will be the Black Panther, but she will not be royalty anymore. It will
Hmm.
be somebody else taking on the mantle of king or queen, splitting up T'Challa's duties in that form, which I don't hate. I actually kind of like that.
Who would you want to be in charge of all of Wakanda?
M'Baka, duh.
Okay,
All
I'm fine with that too. I just didn't know if you were going the M'Baku route or the Nakia route too,
I mean, you either way, I think
or
you
the
have some great
mom,
choices there.
because she seems to
Either
have
way,
some
yeah.
form of power within Wakanda as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. But like, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with the passing of Chadwick, how they deal with the forced, for better or for worse, the forced movement of the Black Panther mantle going to somebody else. Um, it would be it'd be really really interesting. And obviously this is daydreaming a little bit. If T'Challa hadn't killed Killmonger, how Killmonger would be interacting with this situation as well, because that just like having a Killmonger be like some kind of Black Panther would be so stinking cool.
Yes, but
But you
also
know,
let's
it is
not
what it
be
is.
those people that are still convinced that Killmonger will be Black Panther someday. They're like, give it time, they'll find a way. Multiverse, and Michael B. Jordan will be our Black Panther going forward. I'm just like, that's a cool fan theory, but I don't think it'll actually happen in execution. I like the
Yeah,
fact that while this movie's going to be very emotional, the main crux of the story is, yeah, your king is gone. Now's the time to invade. Like when the mom is talking, she's like, we hear your whispers. We know what you're thinking, but you're not going to do it. I'm like, yes, go to war. But again, like,
our
Namor
protector
is
is
a
gone.
Namor has been a bad guy before, plenty of times, but more often than not, he's an anti-hero, and the actor himself has come forward speaking probably more than he should at times about certain things. Um, he's just like, yeah, I'm an anti-hero in this movie. I'm really looking forward to seeing my culture represented in that way, not being a bad guy. I'm going, you look kind of villainous in this trailer, so how are you not the villain in this situation? Like,
Yeah,
what babyface turn or realization that you're the bad guy you're gonna make halfway through this? In which case, what's the actual threat to be had? Because you've got to have something. It's not just like in a finale. Oh, y'all are okay. We're just gonna shake hands and form a sacred union
yeah,
together. Like there's somebody pulling the strings. Somebody is pulling the strings. And
yeah.
we keep
Somebody who's leading both of these kingdoms to their doom. You know.
so okay about that. I think enough people have probably heard the rumors by now that a certain Fantastic Four villain, not named Namor, because Namor was originally a Fantastic Four villain, a certain Fantastic Four villain may be involved to a certain extent in this. I don't want to set that as an expectation, only a
Yeah.
hope and desire, because then we might
Yes.
have a multiverse of madness situation on our hands of just like, oh man, with the multiverse, we could get this character and this character. It's rumored that this character shows up, and then we get the Illuminati scene of just crap the bed there in terms of the multiversal options. So I want to be excited for this movie, but also to temper my expectations for like, it's actually this person behind it all. Like, that would be a cool
Mhm.
reveal, but at the same time, if that's not the case, cool your jets, people, because the movie should not be about that character. This should be about Wakanda more than anything else.
Mhm. Absolutely, I completely agree. And I love that Umbaka making that point of like, if we go to war, this will just be an internal struggle, like almost saying like, bro, we are both like very well matched as kingdoms, and this isn't going to end anytime soon, and that just doesn't, that's not going to help anybody. I every single trailer I get more and more excited. So let's get it going, baby.
I'm also kind of wondering if they released the Black Panther trailer when they did to kind of hide the news about whatever the heck is going on with Blade, because, Marvel and DC both have this tendency of look over here, while this house is on fire over here. And we're obviously talking about the director of Blade, quote unquote, leaving the project when the project was supposed to start filming in November. I don't believe for a second that he just left or quit. I 100% believe that he was fired because, according to a lot of reports from the major trades we've been hearing, the script for Blade that's been worked on for years was roughly about 90 pages, which roughly translates to about 90 minutes of a movie, with only 2 lukewarm action sequences in the entire thing. And going, you had all this time, and that's what you come up with? And supposedly
Yeah.
the lead actor, Mahershala Ali, is just incredibly frustrated with this whole process. And I don't blame him for a second. If you're coming onto a Marvel movie, before a certain bald maniac took over, you expect a certain standard. You don't expect like the best movie in the world, but you expect strict scheduling to be maintained. Like, Marvel,
Mm-hmm.
for better for worse, and people accuse them of being cookie cutter. The cookie cutter process works when you stick to a regiment and you stick to it. Kevin Feige, this is another example of this. We've had many over the past few years, but Kevin Feige is getting stretched too thin. Kevin Feige of a few years ago would have caught this a long time ago. Now, granted, it's a good thing he caught this now instead of
Now, yeah.
3 months into filming, but this is not a good look for them. I'm trying to think of the last time we've had this much like turbulence with something before it even comes to film when it comes to Marvel stuff. Inhumans, maybe, and
Maybe.
that wasn't even in a movie.
I'm,
That got turned into a TV show because they just couldn't figure it out. I
I mean, there
want
was some
Blade to
stuff
work.
about there was
Mm.
stuff with Multiverse of Madness a little bit going into it.
Yeah, but that was
Not
more.
this bad though.
Yeah, Multiverse of Madness stuff was more COVID than anything else, of just like
Mm-hmm.
rescheduling, but also like Scott Derrickson wanting to go more horror stuff. But that was early on in the script writing phase, not a few weeks before they're set to film.
Also
Uh
true.
but yeah, Kevin Feige is stretched too thin here and needs help. He's got his fingers in so many different pies and thus contaminating the pies that he has his fingers in. Like,
Gross.
there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and Josh knows more hands
Mm-hmm.
does not make the process better. More hands can actually hinder the process a lot of times in the kitchen. Just get out of my way. You're blocking my path type of situation. I want Blade to be good. I want us to explore the darker sides of the MCU as we're getting Werewolf by Night this weekend. Ah, praise the maker.
Oh, is that this weekend?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, baby, let's go.
But
I'm
like,
so excited for that.
Josh and I both love Blade. And we want this to work. We want Blade. We want Ghost Rider. And I'm very
Mhm.
concerned now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm very curious as far as like, okay, so what's the problem? Are we not wanting to go horror enough? Are we not wanting to kind of go into the real implications of saying that vampires are a thing in the MCU? Like, what's the issue? What's the real issue here? Because it's if Mustafa Ali is frustrated, it's probably
Mahershala.
not him. Mahershala. Oops.
Mustafa Ali is somebody
Uh,
else. He's more flippy.
oh, wow. Yeah, wow. Okay. That's a poll that I've completely forgot about him. Wow. Uh, although that is a guy that I could totally see being in a Blade movie. Um, but like it says a lot, I think. And the director, quote unquote, dropping out, like you said, I think he got fired or let go 2 months before filming. To me, especially if the script is only 90 pages long, and it's interesting that that it's not like they weren't going to go film until they had a longer script. They were like, hey, our script is 90 pages long. Let's go film it anyway. Like, dog, you can't do that. You just can't do that. Especially not in Marvel film, especially not with a property that everyone's expecting so much from, like Blade. So to me, I'm not going to be worried because at least they caught it now. At least they caught it now, and instead of when it was getting filmed and all that. But like, I'd be lying if I said it didn't make me it didn't make me still like nervous.
Yeah, this does make me really, really nervous. But more than anything, like, this should help. Hopefully, like, I don't think this will happen, but Kevin Feige needs a committee, not a full big committee, but like 3 or 4 guys that he fully trusts. Like, well, if he was still working with Marvel in the future, a James Gunn, a Jon Favreau, the Russo brothers, and Ryan Coogler. It's just some names that he's worked with, that he trusts, to be like, hey, I can't handle all this stuff. Can you guys delegate? Ryan Coogler, can you be in charge and help this show, and this show? Jon Favreau, can you help this movie, and this movie? Just make sure they're on track and whatnot. Russo brothers, can you help this and this? And then you all report to me, and I'll oversee the bigger stuff like Avengers and whatnot. Because I'm starting to get worried about Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, but that's always the ones
Mm-hmm.
that Feige will always have the most involvement in. So, for better for worse, Age of Ultron. It, he just needs help. I think one of the big issues for Phase 4, among many others, is I think Kevin Feige is being pulled in too many different directions, and he's expecting people to follow him in those different directions. He's like, we want to do this, we want to do this, we want to do this. I'm like, that's cool, Kev. Streamline it for people, because it's getting hard to keep track of what's important and what's not in this universe right now. And just, I think he's a little overwhelmed, and I completely get it because he's in charge of everything, not just the films anymore. TV, I believe he's also in charge of the comics. Like, anything Marvel has to go through Feige. Like, delegate some stuff, but also, this is really not a good look for them. Like,
No,
by and
not at
large,
all.
we haven't heard of them replacing a director since Doctor Strange, I think. But even before that, with like Patty Jenkins with Thor 2, with Thor the Dark World, and we know how that ended up. But by and large, when they get a director, like when they get actors, they tend to stick in that position until something bad happens. So the fact that this happened now, I want Blade to be good, but I had no reason to doubt it. Now I have some definite doubts for sure in this.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I just, yeah, because the amount of hype going into Blade, you really can't. You have to do this right, and I get that there's some pressure on that. And so Feige's credit, before the pandemic, all this TV stuff was not even something he had to worry about. So it's very interesting to see. I'm very curious is if there's a lot of stuff, obviously we're not being told, but a lot of stuff that he's having to deal with that is just from the Disney Plus side of stuff, because the movie, it's the TV shows that are convoluting everything, at least to me. But I think that kind of puts us pretty well into our next topic.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up, Josh, because I know a lot of people are super, super excited about this. To me, this is just a domino currently. I was never excited about the prospect of Armor Wars. I remember when they announced it at the Disney Investor Call or whatever, like the Disney Plus Day, and they're like, Armor Wars. I'm going, oh, okay. Does that mean we get Justin Hammer back? That's cool if that's the case.
Justin Hammer.
But Armor Wars is being transitioned away from being a Disney Plus series to being a theatrically released movie. I think that's the big caveat here. It's a theatrically released movie, not a directed Disney Plus movie. I say this is a domino more so than an announcement, as we just talked about Blade potentially getting massively delayed due to the director just leaving, getting fired, whatever you want to call it,
Quote unquote, yeah.
Yeah, because the story wasn't up to par. They're gonna need something to slot into that time slot for when Blade was supposed to come out. And if this story is close enough to being ready to film, I bet they're like looking at it going, okay, this could be a 6 to 7 hour thing, or we could trim this down and make it a 2 hour movie and probably tell the story in a much more convincing manner. I was never excited for Armor Wars, but I think this might be a smart move. But more than anything, I see this as a move to patch up the hole that Blade is cutting through the MCU right now. Of, all right, just swap that out for this for right now. We'll put Blade on the back burner until we get this figured out. Armor Wars. Remember that thing that we almost completely forgot about a few months ago and gave you no product, no official update over the years that it's been in development? Armor Wars, you're up to bat. It's like Little League when there's that one kid on the end of the bench. Hey, you're a pinch hitter. And he like wakes up from his nap going, oh, I'm in? Cool, my turn.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Armor Wars is. Armor Wars to me, ever since they announced it, never felt like it was, it's gonna sound mean, but it never felt like it was important. Like, oh, okay, someone's stealing Tony's tech. The multiverse is collapsing, but oh no, a billionaire's toy has gone missing. Like, I'm sorry, it seems low stakes compared to where we are currently leading to in the MCU. And maybe there's been some talk that might tie into Secret Invasion somehow, but
I mean, Don is Cheadle's in Secret Invasion, so like that's cool, I guess. Sure, why not? I'm with you on this. War Machine is like, he's a guy that kind of exists in the Avengers. doesn't. I know I'm going to catch heat for this, but I don't feel like he brings all that much
I
to
miss
the
Terrence
Avengers.
Howard. I miss Terrence
I
Howard's Rhodey.
I do too. And no offense to Cheadle, because I love Don. He's so good in everything he does. But unfortunately for him, when he fell in so was it Civil War?
Yeah,
Civil
Civil
War,
War,
yeah.
your favorite.
When he fell, it's one of the reasons I am Civil War left a bad taste in my mouth. When he fell, and we were Tony has this whole moment of crying over War Machine because they think he's dead, and then literally not even 20 minutes later we see him trying to go through physical therapy, trying to walk again. uh it's my issue with that middle section of the Marvel universe, where death isn't permanent. It's not actually a risk because we can just slap a band-aid on it and keep moving. All of my emotional energy went into that moment of like, oh my gosh, they actually killed War Machine. That's crazy. And now he's
What,
still
actually
around,
stakes?
and yeah, and it's like, all right, I guess give us a reason to, as an audience member, to care that you're here. Okay. Eesh.
Something else, if for some reason this doesn't develop into a movie, then there's another development that supposedly Marvel is considering. That I wouldn't be surprised if more Marvel shows going forward adopt this mentality, and that is Werewolf by Night is coming out this weekend, and it's like a 50-minute one-off special. I would not be surprised at all if some shows in the future, like potentially in Armor Wars, like that Wakanda series that we talked about, or wasn't there like a Dora Milaje series that they're talking about doing, or the
Yeah.
Agatha Agent something of
Mhm.
Chaos show? If those kind of take the one-off approach of, all right, it's not a full-fledged movie, but like a 50 to 60 minute long one-off special in this self-contained world, maybe that could be a thing that they look at in the future for Disney Plus. Well, it all kind of depends on how good Werewolf by Night does, and supposedly it's getting rave reviews. I could see Armor Wars being more of that, of like a one-off, standalone type of thing, as opposed to a full-fledged movie. It's just like, I get why Black Widow had a movie. Granted, it was many years too late. It should have happened
Oh, absolutely.
in between Winter Soldier and Civil War, but there's a lot of politics as to why that didn't happen, or stupid reasons. But Black Widow was at least like a core member of the Avengers that was well beloved. So many people make fun of like the Hawkeye show because they're just like, well, Marvel's scraping the bottom of the barrel for characters to have content. Yeah, Rhodey kind of feels the same way, though, to me, of like, really? Rhodey is getting a movie. Rhodey. He's fine, but like, he's a really good supporting character. And I think
Yeah.
a show probably could have served him better, but maybe the show didn't have 6 to 7 hours worth of content and they had to strip it back. But again, top candidate for me is it's got to be something Blade related. They just needed to fill a stopgap here because production schedules.
Exactly. Because I just, yeah, to me, at least with Hawkeye, he has that moment with Natasha and with Black Widow. So like there's actual trauma there and stuff like that, and which feels a little cheap to Rhodey, because it's, he almost died, but like at the same time it's like we haven't seen any reason that would affect anything going forward. So I don't know. We'll see. I definitely agree. I think that them moving this to a movie is just to fill that slot. Who knows? Maybe Ironheart will cause this to be a bigger deal. I don't know. We'll see.
Now moving away from Marvel to Warner Brothers, because gosh, Warner Brothers can't keep themselves out of the news, it seems like.
Yeah.
As they're once again in even bigger trouble. It could be in a huge amount of trouble if what we're hearing is actually true, and that is that Warner Bros. Discovery is currently being sued by a large number of their shareholders / investors, as the shareholders are claiming that they were lied to about the number of subscribers actually on HBO Max by upwards of 10 million subscribers. And I'm going, oh, oh
That's
no,
that's a lot.
that's not like, oh yeah, we have like 500,000 more subscribers than this, but 10 million when you probably only have 70 to 80 million right now to begin with. Like, Netflix is still the top dog, I think, with like 220 million, and then Disney Plus is quickly gaining ground on that. But if HBO Max lied about that, the shareholders and investors have every right to sue. And I'm still in his corner for the most part, but I'm definitely coming off the Zaslav train, where we were a few months ago, of like really hyping the guy up. It's just like there's a couple conflicting reports that we're hearing across the board of got that the shareholders suing. We haven't really talked about it on the podcast, but potentially HBO Max selling. No, not HBO Max. Supposedly Warner Brothers Discovery selling again in just a few years. Like David Zaslav only bought Warner Brothers to flip it to Universal to make some money off there. So Peacock would absorb HBO Max, and I'm going, see, I don't know if I buy that, but at the same time, Universal desperately needs something and could probably afford it. It's just a matter of like, do I see it happening? But getting back to the lawsuit thing, oh boy, $10 million is quite a bit of change, both financially, but also just in terms of sheer numbers of people with your streaming service. Like,
that's a lot, dude. That's a lot to lie about. I don't know how you can even remotely do that and then be like, yeah, I'll get away with this. And like how there's no way to check that. Like, I feel like there's got to be some kind of third-party system checking that. There's no way that they can just be like lie about that and the numbers are just with them. That's just so. I'm with you. Is like there's a lot of the reports coming out right now are really, really scary as far as like, okay, cool. So if all this stuff happens, DC, all that stuff probably isn't going to come out. It's probably not going to matter, which is like, feels like a waste of time and a waste of resources. And it's just like, so like, what are we doing here? Like, are we just playing corporate hot potato? Like, what is this?
Yeah,
what are we doing here?
I just want my DC characters to have a loving, nurturing home and not just jump from foster home to foster home. Is that too much to ask? Also, just a quick aside, a world away from the world of movies, but with the speculation that some people are throwing out there that Universal could potentially buy Warner Bros. Discovery, in a roundabout way, Josh, that would mean that both WWE and AEW would be owned by the same company. Which
and that's such a monopoly problem. Like that, there's no way that could actually pass because like that is clearly a monopoly. That literally almost makes it what, like Universal versus Sony versus Disney, and that's it.
Sony doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of winning that fight.
Exactly.
Unless so, like, Sony merged with Paramount.
Which is, even then, again, that just adds more fuel to the fire as far as all of these monopolies. And then, so if you've got all these major companies all owned by the same group of people, then like, how is like somebody like A24 going to actually survive? Where do all these smaller studios, how do they survive in that kind of world? I just, HBO obviously, like, okay, are they being sued for lying? Yeah, that sucks. Okay, cool, whatever. You do bad stuff, you get bad prizes. So like, if that's the case, then yeah, they should absolutely be sued and absolutely lose that. It doesn't really affect us; it just affects the shareholders, which is kind of like a weird thing, where it's like, yeah, you got caught, but like it doesn't affect the audience member all that much in a way. So it is what it is. I'm kind of over. I'm just worried about the monopoly stuff at this particular moment.
Yeah, with Warner Brothers Discovery, it's Josh and I were very high on David Zaslav in the new administration because we were just hearing good things. But with each passing week and each passing month, we're kind of getting out of that honeymoon phase of, all right, he's making the tough choices. Man, these choices suck, but it's what needs to happen. It's tough choices to, okay, how much of this is cost cutting so you can flip it versus how much of this is, do you actually have a plan? Because if you do, you have to actually start, working and developing on new things. You can't just keep scrapping stuff that's already been worked on. And the fact that they haven't really announced anything, they're just like, you know what? We're just perfectly content with patching the holes in the boat and then just going along. We don't actually have a direction that we want to go in. And I think that's the part that's getting me much more worried than I was a few months ago, of just like, I get it if you didn't announce anything when you first came in to power because, you got to let all the dust settle, you got to get all your people in place. But the fact of just like, you say you've got a plan for DC, then why have you lost all your candidates that you're trying to hire? We've talked about 2 of them already with Greg Berlanti and Dan Lin. What's going on there? Why haven't you filled in that spot? You haven't really announced any upcoming movies that we don't already know about. There's nothing really in development on the Warner Brothers Discovery side that wasn't pre-existing from before the deal. It just seems like they're like, all right, we've got it, and that's good. We don't need to do anything with it. Like, no.
Yeah.
If you want this asset to flourish, you've got to do something with it. I get that you have massive debt, but you've got to do something with it. You can't just hold it.
Yeah, it's not like that's going to go away if that's your whole purpose of holding it. So I don't know, man. As always, we'll see what happens. It's kind of up in the air. It's not really up to us, but it doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good.
Lastly, for our news, it just makes sense that we talk about something spoopy because it's Spoopy month. And also, I refuse to drop this news topic because I wanted to make sure that we use this graphic this week because it's a darn good graphic. And also, I'm very excited about this. And Josh should be, because it seems like an actual possibility now that Robert Eggers Nosferatu might actually be happening now. So this is Josh's white whale of thinking this thing will never actually exist. It even might be Robert Eggers' white whale of yeah, after this movie, I'm doing Nosferatu. Now, after this movie, I'm doing Nosferatu. Well, good news and bad news. Bad news is he's lost Anya Taylor-Joy. Good news, he picked up a Bill Skarsgard instead. Not for the same character, although Anya Taylor-Joy...
That would be hilarious!
Anya Taylor-Joy's Nosferatu, I could kind of get behind. But we're getting
absolutely.
Pennywise as Bill Skarsgård as Nosferatu, also known as Count Orlok, if you want to be that guy about it. I think that's perfect casting.
It's Frankenstein's monster. Anyway,
God.
But yeah, no, I'm stoked. This is the white whale for Robert Eggers of whenever I get done this, then I'm doing this. As always, when it comes to the Nosferatu news, we'll wait and see. Because also apparently The Crow is done filming, so whatever. Didn't know that was filming, but okay. We knew that they had cast. Isn't it Bill? They cast Bill in it as well, didn't they?
Yeah, Skarsgård again.
Yeah.
Skarsgård really likes his pale characters.
I guess so.
Pale black and white characters.
I can keep my hair the length it is. I don't have to go out in the sun at all. I'll just go from being the Crow to being Nosferatu. I see no issue with that.
Bill Skarsgård is going to get oddly typecast as the gangly white dude that you get in a lot of prosthetics and creepy makeup just to give you the creepy face. But hey, he does it well.
There's worse things to be known for.
Yeah, you can be known as the people that host our podcast.
Yeah. Could you oh my gosh, could you imagine being typecasted as a pedophile, in everything that you're done, that you act in? It's this is weird. We need a pedophile in this movie. Let's get this guy. That's what he's known for.
It makes me think, IT crowd, Mr. Peter File. I'm Peter File. But also, Bill Skarsgard's been added to the cast, and replacing Anya Taylor-Joy is Johnny Depp's daughter, Lily Rose Depp. Cool. I'm not familiar with her work. I know she's been around for a few years now, doing stuff here and there. Cool. Robert Eggers, I'm appealing directly to you now because I know you listen to us primarily for Josh's enthusiasm of you. And I like you too, but just Josh doesn't unhealthy love.
Okay, chill.
All I ask is make this movie in black and white, just like you did with The Lighthouse. I think Nosferatu, part of the charm is the black and white, like the dark shadows and the contrast. It's just the overall vibe that it gives off. I know we had one in like the 70s or 80s with Werner Herzog that was in color, but like black and white works so much better for Nosferatu. I don't know. I have a SpongeBob cameo. I don't care. Actually, I would kind of be against it being set in the modern day. That's where a whole generation of people know Nosferatu from.
Yeah, unfortunately. But like at the same time, like, yeah, I don't want this set in the modern day, but like this is also Robert Eggers we're talking about. The the man was like, I want my finale to be two Vikings fighting. Do you want them in the village or like, no, I want them naked on a volcano. Okay, yeah, okay, sure, dude, whatever.
What is it with Robert Eggers movies having just two men beating the crap out of each other as the finale?
Yeah. Which is, have you seen, did you see this past week's Quarter Crew when they
yes.
when they're talking about the Northmen and how the smoke follows their genitalia? Like, that's so odd. Why does it do that?
It's magnetic. But Josh and I have been excited for Nosferatu, of all things Robert Eggers related and all like Universal Monsters, even though this kind of predates it, because Robert Eggers is a man that does his frickin' homework. While both Josh and I were like, about the Northman. It's fine enough. It wasn't to the quality we were hoping it would be. He put in so much time and effort into making sure that the historical parts of it were spot on in terms of like the wardrobe, the dialect, just character interactions. I'm going to put my homework into this. He does that every single time. That, the wiki speak in the lighthouse, the entire dialogue of the Vavitch. And so that level of attention to detail and that style and flair would work so well for Nosferatu. I'm so excited. I like old school gothic looks. Like I would love a new incarnation of Sleepy Hollow, like Johnny Depp and Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow. I love just the look of that movie. I like the movie, but just that look. Make that a movie. And Robert Eggers, if there's one guy with a distinct visual style and filmmaking flair for a modern Nosferatu, it has to be Eggers, which is why it's been on the top of our list forever of, oh yeah, we want this to happen someday, laugh through the pain. But, maybe it actually is happening this time. But then again, they keep saying that they're working on a Trick or Treat sequel, and I've heard that for about 10 years now.
Yeah, it's just exciting, and I would love to see Eggers tackle other stuff, like an Eggers, like you said, like an Eggers Sleepy Legend of Sleepy Hollow would be super cool. Having him tackle Frankenstein would be so cool. Like, dude, like that. If anybody could do Frankenstein justice, it'd be Robert Eggers. So excited, to say the least.
And as always, this week's episode is sponsored by TeePublic, your one-stop shop for all things Uncharted Media merch, whether it is t-shirts, stickers, magnets, notepads, whatever you want with the Uncharted Media logo or other fantastic designs. Go check those out. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on whatever audio platform you're listening to us on, but it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or YouTube. And give us a review on Spotify. If you listen to us on Spotify, it helps us out. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube. Help us get to 700 subscribers before the end of the year. We're now 10 subscribers away. 10. We're almost there. Help us cross that finish line. Get us to 700. And then together, all of us together can start the slow climb to 1,000 subscribers. But only you can help us get there, just like only you can prevent forest fires, because
yeah,
that's like a dated reference.
The forest fire that will be you and I talking about Darth Jar Jar.
So what we're doing to more or less kick off spoopy season is turning run-of-the-mill movies, whether they're like family-friendly movies or just non-horror movies, and turning them into your worst nightmares. Which is probably just me doing that voice for the whole podcast. But in reality, we wanted to have some fun with this, but in reality, it's probably just gonna be really bad fan fiction of, yeah, everything should just be a horror movie. Why not? Elmo and Grouchland? Screw it. Let's have fun with that. Most of these are done for comedic effect, but like I said at the beginning of the show, one of these is to actually try and improve this movie. I don't know how much it would actually help it, but I think it was better suited as a horror movie. But yeah, just how did you come up with? How did you approach this? How did you think of it?
This was like a bunch of what if scenarios of like, okay, cool, this movie, but what if fill in the blank. So like changing details about certain movies just to kind of turn them into horror films, which is basically what the whole concept is anyway. But like, it was like verbally, that's how I had to go about it, just to kind of to not just go down the Reddit rabbit hole of like, oh, okay, what do these people think? And all these people were like, yeah, I mean, let's do the Winnie the Pooh movie. Oh, wait, that already exists. Oh, okay,
Legal
cool.
loopholes are
Crap.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine consisted of just going down my Google sheet of all the movies I own and just going, okay, yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting one. That could work. Why not? We'll have fun with this. But I'll start it off with the one movie that I'm actually taking seriously of. This should have been a horror movie because there was another movie that came out around the same time that actually was a horror movie called Upgrade that was very similar to this movie and was a better version of this movie. I'm talking about the first Tom Hardy Venom movie. That absolutely should have been a horror movie. That would have been a great horror movie of a dude that gets possessed by this evil alien symbiote, but over time really likes the feeling that the symbiote gives him of basically complete power. I think that'd be a great horror movie, but no, we got a quasi rom-com between a boy and his symbiote.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's technically what still happens. It's just, a lot less blood and a lot less like head biting and whatnot. So I don't know, like, yeah, it's kind of what happened. Oh man, there's some of these that I think that end up on lists like the picture of Willy Wonka. That's an easy one, I think.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
And I think an easy one for me is to turn Home Alone into just like a Saw movie or like a collector's movie. Yeah, why not?
But it is not. It is not, contrary to some stupid fan theories out there. Home Alone is not a prequel to the Saw movies.
What? Why not?
Jigsaw is not Kevin McAllister. I'm like, those timelines do not line up.
They don't match at all. No, but like I like the idea of like so the what if on this for me is, okay, cool. It's Home Alone but Saw. But like, what if this is Kevin McAllister actually discovering that he likes causing harm to people, and so like the whole like him feeling like an outcast in his family is because his family's actually kind of scared of him, and they like leave him at home on purpose. And
so that is a movie. It's called Better. It's called Better Watch Out, and it has the girl from The Visit as the babysitter for it. But it's very similar to Home Alone, but evil, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, see, my idea was so good they already made it.
Your idea probably would be better. I did not like Better Watch Out, but it's primarily just because you can have a bad guy. Bad guy has to have some form of comeuppance. At least for me, like they don't have to.
Yeah,
they can get away with it, but like this kid was just the worst.
I think like having it be like this little 8-year-old kid, I don't feel like they need comeuppance in that. Of like, I think it's more scary for him to get away with it in some capacity, and like so then you're left at the end of the film of like, oh no, he's still out there. They're a little bit like sequel baiting, but that just means he has to go to New York to own a house, and we can make the whole house. Oh wait, that's just H. Holmes. Anyway, have
H.H.
you?
Holmes?
Yeah. Have you heard of like the theories that H. Holmes is actually Jack the Ripper, who just he fled London and then went to Chicago and continued his spree in a different way?
No.
Yeah, it's super fascinating. Anyway, I'm not one of those true crime podcast people. I
We're
just
not that kind of
found that
podcast.
yeah. I just found that kind of stuff so like interesting. But yeah. The serial killer Kevin McCartney. Yeah, why not?
Kevin McCartney?
It's
Kevin
McCartney.
McAllister.
Same thing.
No.
No, it's not.
Not even close.
It's not. It's not at all.
So,
Oh man.
I'll have a movie that might be on Josh's list, but I'm not sure. But God, I would love this as a horror movie because it could both be a horror, but also could be a horror comedy. I would love Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs as a horror movie.
Oh, I actually had this that thought at one point.
Did you really? That sounds like Josh might have this one.
Yeah, no, it's not on my list. But I was like, that's too easy. Like thinking of like a meatball like falling so fast that it goes through somebody's head. Like that's terrifying.
Someone literally gets pancaked in this movie.
Aww.
Or it's Final Destination 2 and someone gets impaled by a Twizzler instead of a log. Actually, no, red vines, because red vines are much more dangerous than Twizzlers because they pretend to be candy.
It definitely like you could still do it, but like do it in a Tucker and Dale versus Evil kind of spin where it is a horror movie, but there's still like a decent bit of comedy in it.
But also,
that would be terrifying.
Also, if the scientists in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, did it on purpose as opposed to by accident.
Yes.
And then like maybe the things that are smaller, like the food that's smaller is sentient. So the leak in the boat kills people, a la the Dilophosaurus from Jurassic Park. Like,
let's go.
Spits hot sauce is actually like acidic that like actually can burn through someone's skin.
Dude, I can see that scene in my head where like there's a leak in the boat, and they look at it and he goes, ah! And then jumps on it. I was like, oh gosh, that's terrible. Yeah, that's horrifying. That is absolutely
now I need
horrifying.
This.
Yeah, now I didn't realize this is what I need, but now it is.
Cloudy with a Chance of Death.
Jeez. Or meat sweats. Let's go meat sweats. So it's like uncomfortable and like obviously it's not going to be fun like meat, like oh yay meatballs, but like because meat sweats are weird. That's just
Or you got a killer that beats people to death with meat, like the salami killer or something. Like Michelangelo in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 when he's swinging the cold cuts, the combat cold cuts, and he's like actually killing people with them.
No. This is
he's a filthy Frank.
Rise. This is the true rise of the Condiment King.
Yes. Yes.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
Drown in this ketchup.
the syrup.
Everyone always sleeps on Tabasco. It's murder on the ice.
God. All right, let's transition from that to again going back into the what if. But let's do Sandlot, but what if the dog actually murdered people?
Yes.
Like was actually killing people. And so it like drags one of like the owner actually steals somebody from the baseball team and to feed the dog. And so the movie, instead of the baseball game, becomes a bunch of baseball players trying to go save their friend from this evil dude and his terrifying dog. Like that just to me works on so many levels that has like it part one like vibes to it. Like
so Cujo.
I mean, it's Cujo, yes, but with Sandlot.
I would be very down for that. It's not a baseball that went over the fence. It was Squints or Hey Hey.
Yeah,
No, not Hey
they
Hey.
went over.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
like I have that
One of
scene
the
in my head where they
twins.
go after the baseball and the dog like grabs one of the ankles and drags him out of the house and actually kills him. And they're like, "Oh, oh, oh,
And for
oh."
comedic effect, he spits one of the bones back out at them over the
Yeah,
fence.
yeah, oh, the baseball. He spits the baseball
No, he
back out
spits
at
one
him.
of the bones of the kid that he just ate.
There's
So,
just so much you could do with that, honestly.
so Josh has a 90s movie with The Sandlot, which is
Yeah, yeah.
oh, I'm going with a lesser known, but it's pretty well known in certain millennial circles. Ben Stiller's Heavyweights. Have you heard about this movie, Josh?
No, I have not. I have no idea what
Really?
you're talking about. Yeah.
It's basically, at least Heather and I pretend that it's the prequel to Dodgeball because it's a guy played by Ben Stiller who was chubby and it became a fitness instructor that I'm like, seems a lot like his character in Dodgeball. But basically, it's a Disney movie where kids go to basically fat camp to get in a little bit better shape. I would love it if the camp counselor of that camp was a murderer that picked off the kids that couldn't run.
I just love that we're like, I want more death and I want it to little chubby kids. Like, that is what I'm hearing from you right now. And like, well, yes, fantastic film. Way to make light of like, hey, like these kids are human. Just because they're a little bit bigger than the normal person doesn't make them any less of a person, blah blah blah. But like, also, that
Murderous
is
Ben
such a
Stiller.
yeah, that is such like a great visual of like, I just have this mental image of like a crazed Zoolander running around with a knife, and that's so funny to me.
But let's not go totally dark with it. We will make Ben Stiller's character incredibly incompetent. Like none of the kids will die. He's just that stupid. Like I would love it if the first half of it is them running and the second half is going, okay, we are at the advantage here. There's more of us than there is of him. Let's think of what we can do, and then make it Home Alone style towards the tail end of
Yeah,
having a whole bunch of snacks that they all snuck into the camp or something as booby traps, like
let's
slip on
go.
the
So
gumballs
so
type of thing.
so it is a crazed Zoolander running around with a knife.
This cabin isn't
Oh
even
man.
big enough. It needs to be
It
three
needs to be
times as
at
big.
least 3 times this size. Oh my
And every
gosh.
time he tries to chase the kids, he can only turn right because he can't turn left.
Let's go.
He has to go in
Until
a complete circle to chase him every
yes,
time.
they put him in a maze that has a right turn at the very beginning, and so he can't go anywhere.
And the savior at the end of the movie, the Tommy Jarvis type character, is played by Owen Wilson.
Yeah. Wow, you guys are really in a pickle.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
gosh.
wow.
Wow. You know what you guys need is an orange mocha frappuccino. Oh wow.
It's going off the
Oh
rails.
man. God, that writes itself, honestly.
Yeah. What
All
else you
right.
got?
Okay, so one of my favorite movies growing up was Groundhog Day with Bill Murray.
That is a
Fantastic.
horror of a movie.
It,
Like
it
it's a good
really
movie, but
is.
that's a terrifying
Oh,
concept.
fantastic. It's considered a comedy, but in order to make it more into the horror, let's go a little 1408 with it and actually emphasize on the fact that he's stuck in this day. And so like they allude to it sometimes in the film, but like actually show him trying to get out of this day, show him taking his own life or finding different ways to try to end the cycle, and actually like make it so that there is that point of despair before he realizes what he needs to do
So
to
Happy
end
Death
that day.
Day.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but
Happy Death Day.
but yes, but he's not. It's not to like see. Happy Death Day works because she's trying to prevent her own death, right? But like with Groundhog Day, he's just stuck in a day. there's nothing he's done necessarily wrong. There's no one chasing him outside of him being a terrible human being, and
So
then
Bill
Bill Murray
Murray.
playing that character.
So just Bill Murray. So just
Yeah,
a Bill Murray character.
yes, correct. But like I think the idea that he's done nothing wrong necessarily, and so he's just forced to do this day, lead him into that moment of despair until he realizes what he needs to do to finally get out of it. I just there's something absolutely horrifying and very 1408 esque watching a guy who is forced to reckon with all of this despair and this like really tough, like I can see, personally I just would love to see Bill Murray actually show any kind of acting performance that's not the same thing, but I just think that there's something about that would have made the ending of that film, while it already hits hard, it's a great spot, I think it would hit even harder if we actually saw everything that he went through and it wasn't just alluded to.
So the only thing I would change is I'd make it a little bit more of a melting pot of 1408, Happy Death Day, and here's where you're gonna hate me. Make it a little bit of Zombievers. Have him fight the actual groundhog in Groundhog Day.
Okay, look, I don't care who you are. Zombievers is one of the funniest experiences you will ever have with a movie. Is it terrible? Yeah. Is it trying to be scary? It's trying really hard. Is it actually scary? No, not at all. Is it just like an excuse to have teenagers on camera be risque? Yeah, definitely. Like the zombie beavers are legitimate hand puppets. And I don't mean like, I don't want you to think of like, oh, like you can see them puppeteering. No, like it is obvious that it is just on someone's hand and they're just scooting it around. It is so bad. And I'm so down for that to be in this film, of like somebody having a hand puppet groundhog chasing Bill Murray around that stupid little town. Oh, okay, yeah. Now that's what I want. That'd be that's good. So it's Happy Death Day, but the killer is the groundhog.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Let's go.
So next, I'll go with my one that I'm like the least confident about. It's just like, I'm just gonna throw this out there. It could be good, but more than likely it'll crash and burn. Nicolas Cage's Pig as a horror movie. Like what we all kind of thought it would be. Just Nicolas Cage in a John Wick style movie. But no. What if Nicolas Cage and the pig like lived out in the woods because he'd done some real sketchy stuff in his past and couldn't live in society anymore. And his pig not being a part of his life anymore causes a mental break for him. And basically will go to different kitchens that he thinks has stolen his pig and like is only killing cooks. He's only killing people that he thinks has taken his pig. And I'm not specifically calling out Josh in this one, but I'm kind of just coming up with it on the fly now, and it feels like I'm calling out Josh. So
yeah, just a little bit. Next thing you're
Don't
gonna
steal
know,
his
like,
pig.
and all the cooks are also furries. Oh no!
don't worry, he only kills the pretentious cooks in California because I think it takes place in California.
I think so too.
There just wouldn't be any cooks left in California.
Yeah, I don't. Was that bad? I'm not sure.
There's not too many cooks now.
Too many cooks. Gosh, what a like.
Turn that into a horror movie.
It is a horror movie. What are you talking about?
Give it a full-fledged budget and an actual runtime. Dude, just keep the joke going for a full hour and a half. I don't care.
Too many cooks. Like, God, what a thing to try and watch at like 3 a.m. and just having no idea, no context. Cartoon Network just like throwing that on the screen and in between shows, and you going, what is this? What is this?
I need a Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared movie.
Ah, dude, they've started posting again, like on a consistent basis.
Oh no,
it's like once a month at this point. I haven't watched any of the new stuff
so
yet,
more than epic
like,
rap battles, at least.
Yeah, but like, this stuff is good. So, It's not like Epic Rap Battles of History ignored a lot of the flaws that all of their characters had. Anyway, so my next entrance into this turning movies into horror movies is going to be probably my most ambitious one.
Oh boy.
Um, so have you ever heard of the movie The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants?
Yeah, I was around in the
Okay,
2000s.
yeah. So it's that movie, but what if the pants were actually a demon? And so like it's like controlling and torturing them in their lives. And so like the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants is because the only way to get rid of the demon is to pass the pants on to somebody else. And so they become a sisterhood of trying to figure out how to deal with this demon that's locked in these pants. It's funnier the longer I talk about it, but like in my head, that's so scary.
Josh, you have had a lot of ideas on this show, but I don't think you'll ever have a greater one than that. Because it's like a Dumb and Dumber moment. You see that and go and totally redeem yourself. Like, I would pay good money to see Sisterhood of the Traveling Murder Pants. Like, that just sounds fantastic.
Or like, yeah, it's like I'm just picturing like in the trailer, there's this guy, and it's like that they've come to kind of like identify what's going on in their lives, and they're like, guys, there's a demon in these pants. And like every like stupid man in the audience goes, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, stop, no, you gross human beings.
And you got them on a fire sale.
Hot off the rack. Oh my gosh. It works on too many levels. You could still have all of the adventures and like all of like kind of the issues that all the characters deal with in the movie. Not that I've seen it more than once.
No, Josh prefers the sequel.
Just add a demon into it.
Or the demon doesn't physically make them do anything, but the demon pants act like the ring from Lord of the Rings. Whoever's wearing this slowly gets corrupted by the demon pants and like basically kills people, and they have to like make sure that it only gets passed around before someone gets too evil and starts doing really bad things. So that's why they have to change the pants so often.
Yeah.
And the poster just says, "Who wears the pants in this murder scene?"
I need this so bad now. Oh my gosh. Man, why are we not movie writers? Like, we should be on the
so many reasons why we're not movie writers.
What do you got next, my dude?
Oh god. Well, let's just do the obvious one. Willy Wonka. Even me,
easy.
who is the big, like, Willy Wonka didn't actually kill the kids type of thing. Like, we've all seen that Willy Wonka recut trailer. Like, Willy Wonka could easily be a horror movie if you just change up the music, or, you know, take the music out entirely. Or, better yet, make the music not separate from the movie, so characters just start randomly singing without any knowledge as to why they're doing it, and they're getting freaked out about it. Or, you know, actually have Willy Wonka mutilate the kids, because the kids don't actually die in any of the movies. Once again, insert horse that I will beat again repeatedly, because they are not dead in that movie. Is to learn a moral lesson.
Next on the merch store, the Uncharted Glue Factory. Anyway, because we keep beating horses. Anyway, jeez, that was a bad one. That's like the easiest one. That's low picking fruit. Everybody on Reddit has kind of like written some version of a horror Willy Wonka. Especially like the original's scary, but also Johnny Depp's is deeply unsettling at multiple times.
Oh yeah, that's Neverland Ranch Willy Wonka.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but still, I will say Johnny Depp's is, even without the without the weird tunnel scene, definitely to me is
Oh,
still kind of
what
scary.
weird tunnel scene are you talking about? Not the one at all that I know by heart.
Yeah, and we're just gonna keep moving on. Um,
Josh's like, not a repeat of that. No.
no. I already know it. I already know that you know it, and I know that I know that you know it, and we just don't need to know.
Oh, but it'll
Everybody
be in
doesn't
the
need to hear
200th.
it.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing.
Oh, hey, look at that.
How many more you got, Josh?
um, I've got 6 more.
Oh, you're going to need to burn through some. I got 3
Okay,
that I'm super
I
proud
got
of.
you, dude. Here we go. Okay, what if Chicken Run was actually done with like live chickens, and like we actually see some of them get murdered like right in front of us? So it's not
Holy
a fun
crap.
claymation adventure. It's like a live action chickens getting killed.
Anyone
Oh,
anyone born after the year 2000 is just going, what movie?
what
Because,
is
okay,
Chicken Run?
here's the most niche memory for all 90s kids. We don't remember Chicken Run the movie. We all remember Chicken Run the toys at Burger King. That's the oddly specific memory that I
Oh,
have with Chicken
dude.
Run.
Yeah, because like I remember
Back when toys were great.
in the same vein, I remember the Neverland, like what is it?
Oh, Peter Pan Return to
Sorry,
Neverland?
the Never-Ending Story toys,
I
but like not.
don't
I've
remember that.
never seen the movie ever. Like it's so
No,
weird.
I just remember the Chicken
Anyway,
Run. I just remember the Chicken Run toys at Burger
yeah.
King.
So for those that don't know, Chicken Run is is a claymation movie about a bunch of chickens who escape their coop. The chickens fly the coop. Okay, it's a joke. It's really funny. In order for that to happen, they get a rooster that sneaks in, and yeah. Anyway, I just like much like in the vein of Wallace and Gromit and the Curse of the Were Rabbit
Which is
could have been.
awesome.
It's fantastic, but also easily could be so horrifying. Um, I just think there's so many ways to just literally just live action all of both those claymation films, and all of a sudden everything gets scarier. So I think that's an easy one to do. Um, let's do Cruella. Have her actually murder dogs. Because
Okay, I like to enjoy my horror movies, and that doesn't
yes,
sound pleasant.
no, but if we're going to make a movie based on the villain from 101 and 101 Dalmatians, and you're telling me that her like motivation is not to wear the skin of a Dalmatian, okay, then what else is she planning on doing with the Dalmatians?
It's
You
not
like,
Dalmatians anymore.
oh,
She wants to wear the skin of humans.
there you go. Oh, see, we're
That's
here.
better. Human death,
That's
okay, in comparison to dogs. Like, you
maybe
could kill 100 people in a slasher, but people will come
dog.
for you if you kill one
No,
dog.
That's it. She's like, she's like at one point like kill somebody, and like after skipping over their dog, and they're like, "Oh, we thought you were gonna kill the dog first." It's like, why? Why would I do that? Like,
I'm not a
oh,
monster.
yeah, okay, but that like, I'm not a monster. I just think I think I'm not alone in this. Corella should have been a lot like scarier and should have been a lot more dark than it was. Um, just because of like the character we see in the animated film. Like there's no way that those two are the two same ones. Um, I had the Amazing Spider-Man turn that into as his first outing as Superman. Cool, but also
As
like
Superman.
make as Spider-Man, sorry. Make the lizard actually like be like make his plan to turn everybody into lizards a little bit like scarier. Like have like people be disappearing throughout the city. Have like so because he has to test his serum on somebody, and he's already a lizard, so he has to just make sure that it works on everybody. So people are disappearing throughout the city. You can like it literally just turns it into like a monster movie, which is fantastic. That just happens to be somebody with superpowers. To me, that could be a lot of fun. I the multiverse of madness has not scratched that superhero horror itch. Moon Knight got close, but that I need that itch scratched. Okay, I am now down to 3.
Okay. So, we talked about Nicolas Cage earlier with Pig. Nicolas Cage is somehow connected to this because I think he'd be very disappointed if this ever got turned into a horror movie, but that's exactly why it'd be perfect. I want a frickin' Paddington horror movie. It's all a facade, people.
I had that thought. Yeah, baby.
No one is this nice. Marmalade is actually human blood.
Or he only eats marmalade because it reminds him of congealed human blood.
Yeah.
And so it like that's the only way to satiate his hunger. And then the UK runs out of marmalade and he goes on a killing spree.
He goes like actually feral, and it's almost like a Leprechaun movie. He just hides in between the houses.
I see like Paddington walking down like the streets of London with an axe in his hand, that stupid raincoat covered in blood. Like
it's like the raincoat from American Psycho.
Yes, exactly.
With his raincoat,
like,
he recreates the scene from American Psycho. But best of all, we keep Ben Whishaw as the voice of Paddington. He just has that calm, pleasant voice as he mutilates your spleen, and he just rips it out with his bare hands. With his bare hands. He kills everyone with his bare hands.
This October, one bear will kill all of London with his bare hands.
It's unbearably violent. All the bear puns throughout. He takes the Freddy Krueger approach of just everything has a bear pun at the by the end of it. Just like
sorry, little pause here. Oh my gosh. That's too good. All right. I've got my next is the original Grinch. But
if it's like, the Jim Carrey one, it already is a horror.
I mean, okay, you know what? Let's lean into it. Let's lean into the Jim Carrey, the Grinch. So let's say, let me ask you a question, Nate.
Uh-oh.
How does the Grinch steal Christmas spirit? He steals
by merging
gifts
with Krampus.
He
is a disciple of Krampus.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, what a better way to just destroy Christmas spirit than literally killing everyone in Whoville. Like to me, that's it. Like he like snaps one day and is like, you know what? Screw all you guys, and starts slowly doing it. And like it's all shot from the perspective of Cindy Who. So like it's
she's the final girl.
Yes, of course.
The Grinch
is always the final girl.
So the Grinch grew up believing that Santa was real. And so when he finds out that Santa is not by the people of Whoville that tell him otherwise, that's when he starts killing everyone. He's motivated by being lied to by everyone, realizing Santa's not real. So then he slices and dices. And Cindy Lou Who has to have this like moment of maturity of growing and realizing you're an adult and believing that Santa's not real. And that's why she has to kill the Grinch now. You know, just as Dr. Seuss intended.
Yeah, you know. There's something so terrifying of like, I mean, the Grinch by design
eats people.
Yeah. He actually no. So the Grinch actually like fashions like antlers to him, like full antlers, and Max is running around and impaling people and like shaking them off his horns off cliffs and stuff. So, like, oh man.
Last week I brought up Santa's sleigh with Goldberg and my fantasy football team. Imagine the Grinch just mowing over Whovians. Wait.
Yes.
No, I'll settle for Whovians. I'll settle for him mowing over Whovians.
Yeah, that works.
Whovillians?
Like his the giant sack that he steals all their presents in is made out of skin.
Like Jeepers Creepers?
Yes. Oh, that's horrifying. Oh my gosh, I'm not okay with that. Oh man. Ooh.
We're okay, people. We swear.
Oh, but
I got two more that I'm both incredibly proud of.
I'll lean into my second to last. I think so. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, in its already original form, it's a very good film. It's very scary. There's a lot of like really, really tough imagery for a children's movie, and you know what? That's fine. If we can find a way to kind of merge the original story a little bit more, I'm totally okay with that. Like, I don't think you'd have to push that film very hard, even in its current form, um, to really make it any less of a horror film. Maybe take the gargoyles out. I mean, you should probably take the gargoyles out anyway.
The
And
gargoyles are
have,
never really there.
I mean, I
It's
hear you,
all
but
in
like
Quasimodo's head.
that's fine. They're also the worst part of the film.
No, no, no. Not
Um,
if they're comedic. If they're the voices in his head telling him to do the things he needs to do.
oh, like really messed up versions of Kronk's angles.
Yes.
Oh my
Because
gosh,
he's been
let's
up there for so long,
go.
they're his only friends.
Yes, yes. And like I what is the term? The priest, I guess, is what he is. You know who I'm talking about though.
Oh yeah,
He's
Frollo.
like Frollo is still like a terrible human being. Maybe like amp up the creepiness that's already there. I'm fine with the Hellfire song being there. I just wish they'd be more explicit as far as like, yo, this guy, like, he hates himself
He
for
bad.
loving this gypsy woman, and he will do anything he can to get her, to have her, regardless if she wants it or not. And it's like,
Whether she's
hey,
alive or not.
yeah, it's like, bro, this is a kids movie. What is this? This is clearly horror.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think you'd have to push that movie very hard to make it a horror film.
No. So this initially was going to be the last one I talked about, but then as I started brainstorming, I have another idea that I think is even better. But Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
Yeah, okay.
A Dora the Explorer horror movie, but specifically like how they did in the live action movie of her and her friends go on this adventure in the jungle. God, if the villain of the movie just took Map out of her backpack and ripped it up and just left them for dead in the middle of this jungle where she has no form of navigational skills. She's like, oh yes, I know the way. No, you don't. And they're stuck Blair Witch style in the middle of this jungle with hunters trying to kill them. An actual fox named Swiper trying to kill them.
Swiper's here to steal your life.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Ooh.
Like, yes, trap Dora in the middle of the jungle and watch her friends struggle for life. Yes. That's what we've all wanted. And Diego doesn't help at all. So just like the real show. And then the only survivor naturally is Boots.
An oddly still talking monkey who's like just
voiced by Danny Trejo.
Is he really voiced like by Danny Trejo in the film?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I know I've been meaning to watch this. But
yeah, Danny Trejo voices Boots in the dorm.
What was that dog? Come on.
Yeah, Danny Trejo is in it, and also
they did not market that film well at all.
No, they did not. It's Boba Fett's in it too for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason he's there. Oh my gosh. Okay, what's your last one then?
Okay? So, Will Smith, just as a person.
Yeah, it's horrifying. Yeah.
But no, that's not where I'm going with this. So, I don't normally like rom-coms, but I like this one, and I think we can turn it on its head. Will Smith's Hitch. But instead of Hitch meets American Psycho. Why? Is this your last one too?
No, it's not. But like, that's so good. Like, he's using the whole Hitch thing to find targets.
Uh-huh.
Oh, dude, that's so good.
And Will Smith already, like, before he just slapped the crap out of Chris Rock, he already has this kind of natural charisma that people gravitate towards him. Or worse yet, like Hitch, he teaches people how to be smooth and suave enough to get away with their Patrick Bateman type murders. Like,
oh, dude, I kind of really like that.
Right?
Like, in a really messed up way, but yeah, like I kind of really like that. Like that. Oh my gosh. And like the final girl is the one that like figures him out as for what he is, and like so it's, oh dude, that'd be great. And like he actually accidentally falls in love with her, and it's like, crap, like,
and by the end of it he still does. It's the final girl problem, and he won't kill her because he loves, quote unquote, loves her, but she wants nothing to do with him and wants him dead. I want this now.
That's pretty dang good. It makes my last one look kind of sad, but like I could. So we've been doing like some old polls on all of this of like stuff from the 90s to like recent stuff, but like, do you remember? And I only like I saw a character from this, and then like my brain started going. Do you remember that old like short from Disney Pixar of the old man playing himself in chess?
Still one of my all-time favorite shorts they ever did.
Absolutely. Same. What if we expanded that to an hour-and-a-half movie, which is just him slowly going insane, which is why he's playing himself in chess. I'm thinking like
Call
that,
Checkmate.
but like Machinist, where he doesn't realize he's the person who's causing him all this pain, and he's like he thinks he's the only one playing, but he doesn't understand where his opponent keeps going, and he's like, what is all of this? And then he finally like someone is like, man, do you need someone to play with, because like you're only ever playing yourself when at the park. And it's like, oh whoa, and like yeah, there's something I think there to definitely like go with a Machinist like Fight Club approach. Maybe obviously not as gritty, but like I think having it be this sweet old man who doesn't realize that he's going absolute. Oh man, actually that sounds like a really sad movie. Now that I'm saying it, like
Anthony Hopkins is playing it.
Yeah, like Alzheimer's is getting to him and he doesn't realize.
Yeah, man, why'd you take it
this
there?
isn't horror. This is sad. I don't want this. Oh no.
Yeah, think of something else on the fly. Yeah, you made it. You done goof.
I made a mistake. I made a mistake.
Well then, how do we transition out of Josh doing that?
Oh gosh, I got it.
Oh
okay.
gosh.
So much like how that movie would make you sad, a lot of these movies we've discussed would also be scary in that like weird like 1 to 10 scale. That's what I'm going with, because we've got some good ones. I think we kind of pitched today. Like this is way too much fun. I didn't realize like there was so many movies that we could change into horror. I mean, like obviously, like there's a lot of movies you can change into horror movies, but like ones that like exponentially makes the movie so much better.
I want
like
the Demon Pants,
dude. The Demon Pants. Let's go.
Demon Pants T-shirt coming to TeePublic.
Oh, time to button this one up.
It's the Demon Pants that make Will Smith go crazy.
It's so
Get
really
hitched.
all the movies we've pitched these movies all is actually like this 10 movie series on how they all relate to each
all
other.
Connected back to the Demon Pants.
The Sisterhood of the Traveling Demon Pants.
Yes.
Buttoning up this summer.
Who wears the pants in this movie? Yeah. But what do you guys think? What are some movies that aren't necessarily horror movies by any stretch of the imagination, but you think would be fun to rework into scary movies? Let us know in the comments below. Get creative down in those comments. We always like hearing from you guys. And as always, if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, subscribe to us on whatever audio platform you're listening to us on, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or YouTube. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube at Uncharted Media. Help us get to 700 subscribers before the end of the year so we can talk about Dark Jar Jar. And also, we're now like 4 or 5 episodes away from the 200th, like depending on when you're listening to this. So we've got the best of the Uncharted Media Podcast episode. Oh boy, it's a doozy going down memory lane. Yeah, it'll be a good one. I think you'll enjoy that one. So as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.